seated. My lambkins, my lamby pies. Has anyone caught the theme this morning already? I'm just wondering. Just checking. Something about sheep, right? Yeah, it's early, Jim. Don't push this kind of envelope too far. Sheep, yes. And good shepherds, etc. That imagery of good shepherd is not unique to the Christian church. It goes way back. It goes all over the ancient Near East. It's in all of the religious organizations and, well, what we might have called faith structures back in those days. It's everywhere, this image of the shepherd. And so, what do we know? What do we know about sheep and shepherds? Anybody? They're woolly and they're cute. They're what? They can be dirty, and somebody said they smell. Not just with this end.
And
lambkins. Sheep.
Sheep are not too smart.
Sheep are not too smart.
Yeah, they are. Where one goes, they follow.
Well, that's interesting. See, now we have a difference of opinion among our flock here. Some of us sheep are sharper than other sheep. Fortunately, all these teeth are still connected, or else I would have trouble with that statement. What are some of the... Yes?
They're smart enough to know that they need guidance.
They're smart enough to know that they need guidance. What about 2,000 years ago? Yes, well,
the shepherd lived with the sheep.
Shepherd would live with the sheep. In Montana they did. When I was living in Montana, they lived out on the hillside. They had what looked like a covered wagon. They didn't get good reception out there for their cell phones, but that they didn't have one at that time, so it was okay. We were good. We were good to go. What about sheep 2,000 years ago? What do we think we know about sheep 2,000 years ago?
Highly important to society.
Highly important to society. What did you say, Sean?
Very valuable.
Valuable. So we've got both of those. You're absolutely correct. It's an agrarian society. Sheep were essential. They weren't just nice to have. If you had 99 sheep and one got lost, you needed to go and find that sheep. Have Meg look after the 99 while you went after them. You needed to do that because they provided what? What did they provide? What did the sheep provide? They provided food and clothing.
And their income.
And income. And they provided taxation. You could pay your taxes out of your sheep. And who was taxing you?
The Roman Empire.
Who was taxing you? Well, my professors were taxing me. No. The reading I was doing was taxing me. No. Who was taxing you? Well, the Romans were taxing you, and the Hasmoneans, those were the...
And the temple.
And the temple was taxing you, and who else would be taxing you?
The landowner.
The landowner would be taxing you, and who else would be taxing you? That person that you pawned your tunic with on Friday night so that you could get to temple on Saturday morning, that person was taxing you. So you needed all of these things. You needed all of these things. And tell me something about the thieves thing. Tell me about this thief. We've got some thieves going on. Well, who are these thieves? Who are they? Oh, it's easy. That's why I'm asking you.
Or the sheep stealers.
They were sheep stealers. I think of Yosemite Sam. And whatever it is, the cartoon character Yosemite Sam would say about those Call Sarn, the sheep stealers. That's right. That's right. You said that they were sheep stealers, but we're meant to believe that they were somebody else. We're meant to, this is finger pointing a little bit. Who were they pointing towards? Who when we use the term, who were they pointing towards? I think they were pointing towards the leadership. The leadership of the religious community against which Jesus was setting his face, or setting his philosophy is a better way to look at it. Wow. And in my reading I discovered something I think is very interesting. This will probably put you right straight to sleep, but I thought it was quite interesting. And that is that in those days, goats, herds of goats would be transhumans. They would be semi-nomadic. The goats would go wherever, and the herd herds of the goats would go, you know, up in the hills and down, and they would go over. But sheep were not like that. Sheep needed to stay somewhere near a society or a city or a village because they weren't as inclined to eat most anything that we hear the goats were supposed to do. And also in those days, I was interested to discover, I think I knew this because actually I read this before I went to my study. It's interesting that the sheep follow the shepherd. And that the shepherd in those days probably did know the sheep by name. They probably did know the sheep. So this is all important. It's very important. And as I was thinking about that, I was thinking about that terminology. What does it mean when someone knows us by name? What does it mean when someone knows us by name? Intimate. Okay, well, people know me as James or Father Jim, and that doesn't feel too intimate. But sometimes people call me Jimmy. You don't get permission to do that. I really don't. I don't really care. But it's a good line. Some people call me Jimmy because that's the way they know me. And sometimes when we think about ourselves, we have, we have pet names for each other. You know, Lambikins, Pooh Bear, Sweetie Kids. Those are also names that we call each other. But there are sometimes other names that we call each other, and they're names that only we know, aren't they? They're names that only we know. Huh.
Names have power, too, at least in some societies.
In what way do you mean? Names have power in some societies.
But there's some thought that if you know a person's true name, you can control them in some way.
You can control them. Sometimes when you know a person's name, you know their very soul. And you have access to their very soul. Isn't that interesting?
I mean, we often say, oh, that person doesn't sound like a Frank.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not how I would imagine a Frank to sound. Exactly, yes.
How about friend?
Friend. Now there's a name. There's a name. Sometimes I wonder about friends. I mean, how many people call us friend? And how many people are really our friend? It's not about borrowing money. It's easier to borrow money from someone you don't know very well than it is to borrow from a friend. Very interesting how that works out. I called you each by name. They do not understand, let's see, they don't understand the voice of strangers. But they understand the voice of that person that knows them intimately. There's one thing about God, and here's where I'm going to skate a little bit close to the heresy. Watch out, Stephanie. You need to. Stephanie's my anti-heretic clue. Sometimes she'll go, oh no, oh no. But I'm skating close to a heresy. But here's what I think, and it has to do with this thing called predestination and all that stuff. I happen to believe that sometimes might be coming out, that thought of predestination, that when you're born, that God knows exactly what you're going to do at the end of your life, or that there's some kind of plan laid out for you. I don't really believe that, because I think that if you believe that, then well, Aaron, you don't get to make decisions, do you? Because they're already made for you. So it's an illusion, and I think that kind of illusion is false. And if it's false, then how can you have faith in that kind of... See how that argument goes? Anyway, but I do believe that God knows us intimately. You know that wonderful Psalm 139, God knew us God knew me in the womb. God knit me together in the womb. Isn't that a wonderful expression? Isn't that a wonderful way of understanding something? And isn't it wonderful that someone knows you so well that someone can complete your sentences for you? Or understands what your life is really like? Oh, there's the clue. Steph, would you mind stepping up here for a minute? We're going to hit these folks with something in just a second. Isn't that interesting? Isn't it important? Isn't it liberating that you have someone or something in your life that knows you so well, that understands deeply what it feels like to be you? Not just on those dark days, not just when you're going through that valley of the shadow, not just when it hurts, when you had surgery and your knee hurts, not just about that. But when you know joy, when you know confusion, when you can't understand what's going on in the world, isn't it wonderful to know that somewhere in the middle of that there is something that knows you, that's someone that knows you, and that values you, and that needs you? And that's what we get from this. That's what we get from this. The Good Shepherd. The Good Shepherd who knows us each by name. Cue music.